You're tuned in to the Wifed Up Now What podcast. I'm Coriel, here to give y'all some marriage management advice specifically for millennial wives. Now, before I introduce my guest, let's just address the elephant in the room. I know that when you saw me pop up on the screen, the first thing you were thinking was, where's TK? Don't worry, TK is going to be here at the end of the episode, okay? So if you are here for our girl TK, stick around. She'll definitely be here for that wifey keeps it spicy, okay? Today's guests are two amazing wives who have some stories to share. Y'all know that we're all about learning the real behind these relationships because it is so easy to get caught up in the fantasy and this fairy tale idea of finding a husband and living happily ever after. And although you might be happy, the ever after part is probably not going to happen. And so today we're going to talk about the real inside of these relationships. And I have Precious and Angela in the building. Hi. So start by telling us how long you've been married.
Well, I've been happily married for 10 and a half years.
Come on, 10 and a half.
Yes. Well, it's almost less than a half because our anniversary is in April.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So 10 years. 11. Look, we're going to say 11.
Rising
okay.
11.
Rising on the 11.
Well, since we're going to raise up, I'll say 10 years because it'll be 10 years July 5th this year. So
okay.
I'll say 10.
So we got some OGs in the building.
OGs,
we're going to start out. We're going to keep it light, okay? We're going to start out with a little this or that because this is going to be February episode, right? This month is all about love. So we're going to get into that. But I want to talk about like some old school R&B. I just want to see where y'all at. Okay, warm y'all up a little bit.
Let's
okay,
go, let's go.
So this or that. Who do y'all prefer, or who did y'all prefer, Mary J. or Mariah Carey?
Mary J.
Why did you make that face as if there was no other option?
I mean, Mary J has the soul. She has the grit. You know, she's been through some things. I think that Mariah's been through some things more in the latter times. When she first came out, I felt
but
like...
that's not what she was singing about.
Yeah, it wasn't what she was singing about. And I mean, from a suburban girl, I just resonated with Mary J because I just was like, I ain't been through these things, but it's interesting, you know? So I think I was more mesmerized by Mary J.
Okay.
I think everyone can relate to Mary J because she's a little bit more around the way. Your homegirl, she's been through what you've been through and doesn't come across as, no, this can't happen to me.
Right. I think Mariah does separate herself from, she's definitely not the around the way girl. Okay, I got it. Boys to Men or Drew Hill? Not two really deep sides.
Well, you know what? For me, I'll say it depends on what mood I'm in because I enjoy both artists. They're both amazing artists, both amazing vocals. But if you, depending on what mood, that one's a tough one. Now, that one's a tough one.
Flip a coin.
I'm going to go with Drew Hill, though.
See, Drew Hill is the basement parties, the sock hops.
Drew Hill was us being fast, yeah.
Yes, the sock hops, the dancing, all that. And then Boys to Men, I feel like I have to choose Boys to Men because, like, some of those songs will still bring me to tears today.
They're more, like, iconic.
Yes, and what band do every single person you relate to? Like, I love the deep voice. I love the high pitch. Like,
Okay, so that was a good one. Okay, last but not least, Usher Confessions or Beyonce Lemonade?
Beyonce. On the internet, it's Beyonce's internet. Beyonce.
Is it?
100, or not two, okay.
Is it Beyonce's internet, Angela?
I'm going to defer and say, watch this. These are my confessions.
Listen, I haven't been to the concert, so maybe.
And see, that was a Tiny Desk one. I'm going to go ahead and say Usher.
I am definitely in agreement with Usher.
Yeah.
I think that the album, now I put the album specifically because I think that it would have been hands down like Beyonce, but the Confessions album was so iconic.
Priceless.
Yeah, it's just like, how can you compete with that?
I don't want to revoke my card because I just never really was like, I'm not saying it's anything against it.
You're not familiar with it?
I'm familiar, but I wasn't like one of those people that was playing it on repeat.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what era of my life.
Every minute of every song.
I don't know what era of my life I was in then, but
college, freshman year.
Yeah,
look, I know what you was doing.
Freshman year of college, no.
Okay, it's a no for you. Okay, Beyonce Lemonade. Okay. So just a little fun to warm y'all up. Now we're going to get into some reactions. It's a lot of craziness going on these internet streets, right? But one of the perspectives that we don't often hear is the wife's perspective. We are always talking about relationships with single people, which is cool. But I believe there's just a wisdom that comes with being a wife. And so I would love to get y'all's opinion on just one little crazy clip on this internet, okay? So the premise, there's a group of men, and they all have a balloon. A woman comes up, she introduces herself, talks a little bit, and the men pop a balloon if they're not interested in her.
See.
And then once the balloon pops, they ask the man, why are you not interested? Like, what was it about her? So this particular young lady, whatever she presented was obviously tied into this emotional baggage that she was still holding on to. Even based on that little clip, you could see how defensive she got with, you just into therapy, I'm good. People, we all need therapy. Amen. Let's say that.
We do.
But the part that stood out to me was, I don't care how you look. I can afford you. I got the money. But emotionally, I'm not dealing with that.
Right.
And I think so many women, so many single women, so many beautiful or successful single women these days think that their beauty or success is enough. But these men are starting to know and realize that they have worth, and they don't want to necessarily waste their time with the liability. So the wives' take on that clip, what do y'all think?
You know what's funny? Something stood out to me differently. When he said, I can afford you financially, but not emotionally, I was turned off by that because you don't know, like that to me sounds more like transactional. I do believe that relationships require being willing to grow with someone, being able to have a conversation with someone, being able to tell her, find out more about her than, are you in therapy? Where are you at in your healing journey? Who hurt you might be the better question. And instead of just transaction being like, by the looks of it, I could afford you, but not emotionally, doesn't speak much to what he has to offer emotionally either. It seems like a little bit, I want you in a wrapped up package and ready to go. And I don't believe that sustainable marriages happen when people are, I'm 100%, everything is perfect, and just be able to afford my lifestyle. So that's what rang out to me. But yeah, you're right. We do need to realize that beauty is fleeting, as the good word says, right? So you can't just go with what your hair, nails, and your body. You've got to offer more.
For me, that was a little bit different because I just experienced watching two single friends of mine who I introduced dating. The man came back to me and said, I can't do her emotionally.
Oh, wow.
And I had a very deep conversation with him about what does that mean? So I think, and his answer was from a male perspective, and it was, I can love you, compliment you until I am blue in the face. If you don't believe that, and if you don't believe what I'm sharing with you, there's emotionally, I can't carry the relationship for the both of us.
Right.
So for me, that statement took me back to that conversation that I recently had. And I think that was a strong statement. That was a real statement, because individuals, regardless if it's the man or the woman, if you're coming to a relationship broken,
Right.
it's not going to be a healthy relationship. So we need to do the inner work to heal and present our best selves as opposed to presenting our broken selves. And we're all broken in some way, shape, or form. So let me say that. But it's just a matter of how we present that brokenness.
Right.
And when my friend said that to me, beautiful woman, he said, emotionally, I can't support the relationship emotionally enough for the both of us. And that was
to make
strong.
it worthwhile. Like, it's not worth what it's going to take for me to just manage and maintain for this to be worth it. And I've definitely had a similar conversation with a man who was dating a woman who I just thought was like it. Right. Beautiful, had it all together, seems to just have the, just seemingly the best personality, has her own money, just all of the things. You know those women that you see and you're like, why is she single? And that was literally what he said. He was talking to, and it wasn't necessarily she had emotional baggage. It was more so I don't want to say she couldn't be corrected, but she was never wrong. She could never accept any type of direction. And for men, if you act like you don't need me, they have no place. They feel like, well, there's no point in me being here. And I chose that clip specifically because I think that it speaks to what women say that they want. I just want a man with money. And what men what we think men want, which is just a pretty face. So part of what you didn't see was her explaining, you know, what she wanted in a man was he had to have X number of dollars. He had to be at this certain position in life. And this man who's a doctor who is in that position was saying, well, I got it. I can do all that, but I don't want to deal with that.
I see. The issue is I've been out of this dating pool so long. You know, it's been 12 and a half years at this point. And I go to a gym where there's a lot of young ladies and we talk and, you know, I'm always mesmerized by it, but it's so forward that it's so much criteria dropping, right? It's so much judging and pretentiousness. Like, it's not enough. Let me get to know you. And even the game is hilarious to me because it's just like, why do we as millennials want to label everything, quantify everything, get straight to the point per se, right? And we think that we're doing ourselves a favor, but really we're losing that nuance, that je ne sais quoi of getting to know someone, getting to experience that person. And, you know, for her, I feel bad because she's probably put that air up because she's been in this pool of men or whatever and feels like she needs to give her criteria based on being hurt or whatever. Therapy. As a counselor, I would, she needs therapy. But it's hard for me. I'm trying to stay out of that pool, and I'm praying for everyone in it.
That part. I think, though, the defensiveness is definitely a turnoff.
Yeah.
Anybody who does not need therapy would not start the sentence off with, I think you just into that. You know, like, you clearly are proving his point with that response. So I think it's just an opportunity to check ourselves, get more aware, and know what the other, whoever you want to date, I'm just going to say the opposite sex, know what they actually want.
Yeah.
Because we can't say we want to be in a marriage with a man and then a man tells us what he desires and we like, but no, I'm not doing that. Go, get somebody else to do it. And it's like, but then you get what you get. Yeah, what do you really want? Okay, so that was good. So one of the things that I have personally just gotten into, y'all, I just launched a blog, okay, everybodylied.com, and it's the premise of we've been lied to. We've been lied to our whole lives about so many things. For the sake of this conversation, though, we're going to focus on the marriage lies, okay? One of the things that I realized as someone who has always wanted to be a wife, this is something that I've prayed for, I thought I prepared for it, all of the things, and I got into it and still didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I'm a happy wife. To your point, happily married, right? A happy wife. I love my husband, and it's still very hard.
Yeah.
And so I know that I'm not alone in that. And I know so many women get into these marriages, become a wife, take on this role, and then it's not necessarily what they thought it was going to be, or they don't know how to manage or maintain. So first question for you two, what was the biggest reality check once you became a wife?
Well, for me, similar. My parents are still married. I did not model my marriage after my parents, however, but I'm from Ghana, West Africa. And so my biggest reality check was that you really make the marriage you want. It doesn't have to come. It's not like I get married and I enter this thing and it's just going to be ready made. Like, no, you've got to make the marriage you want. You've got to create the boundaries you want. You know, a piece of advice that my wonderful mom told me is that don't start nothing you don't want to keep doing. And it is true, like the boundaries.
Oh, give an example, Precious.
Okay, so when I was young and married, before we had, my husband was a single dad, so I have the bonus family structure. He would wake up really, really early to go to work. And I'm like, I'm going to wake up and make him breakfast. Woo. So, 5 a.m., I woke up every morning and made him breakfast for work and helped him get his lunch together. So because he's our first child after the first year, baby comes, and I'm like, I'm not getting up to make it. I might put your snacks out the night before. But my mom, when she heard I was doing it, she's like, I don't know if you want to do that for 30 years, and it's basically don't false advertise. So when we changed that system, I had to talk to him and say, I think I was ambitious. I was doing too much. I still love you all the same. I'm going to show you love because his love language is acts of service. I'm going to show you love in other ways. Now that I think about that, I need to start going back to some of those things. But you make the marriage you want. And if you're open and do premarital counseling and do all the things about communicating, you have to communicate when that marriage that you built is not looking, the math isn't mathing. It's not looking the way you want. It's not just I walk into marriage and marriage happens to me. You've got
that's
to
good.
work.
Not starting something that's not sustainable because baby.
And
then I'm going to let you answer. But one thing a point that you made that I want the people to take away from this is that was his love language, and you had to have a conversation about why it was shifting, because his natural thought would have been, she don't love me no more.
Right, the baby came and she don't care about me.
And now y'all bumping heads, right. And it was a simple, I'm tired now, I can't keep up with this. But if you don't communicate it, then it turns into, my wife don't want me no more.
Exactly.
And we know what that can turn into.
A lot.
So a lot of things that you don't want. So I love that you were able to recognize that and point that out.
That's what she kind of took not two, but they're important because they translate from marriage to marriage. Communication is key, and learning your spouse's love language. Like, I didn't know anything about love languages prior to getting married. I love you, you love me. Okay, let's go together. Let's check that box and we go together. We boyfriend, girlfriend. However, when you're married and when you truly want to be able to communicate, when I sit down with my husband, I look at my husband. If I want to have an uncomfortable conversation, I always ask him, can I talk to my friend? I don't want to talk to my husband. I want to talk to my friend, because my husband is truly my best friend. And I talk to him. Sometimes I catch myself, and girl, he gonna stop it. He be like, I'm not your girlfriend. Like, stop it. So stop. I know I'm not, but I'm so comfortable. And we after, we've been married for 10, together for 12. I've been able to figure out how to communicate with him, not to him, but with him. We communicate amongst each other. And I think, in the beginning, because I was single for so long, he's like, why do you talk at me? And when he said that, I had to take a step back and really understand what he meant by that. So now it's like, hey, can I talk to my friend? So listen, I got the situation with my husband, and I'll explain whatever the situation is bothering me. How do you propose we fix it? And then he'll giggle, and he's like, so should I answer as your friend or your husband? So it's just finding relatable ways that's not going to make someone defensive, that's not going to make somebody automatically shut down and not listen, but finding creative ways to communicate. So I'm going to go back to, I love when we first started dating. Like, so let's talk how we talked when we were dating before we got married. And then I had to understand, what is your love language, and incorporate his love language into our communication to keep things easy. So again, it's just that communication and knowing how you want to be treated and how your spouse wants to be treated. And that is, and making your marriage your own to what Precious said. Like, no one has a blueprint, and you want your marriage. You want to enjoy your marriage. You want to be able to say, hey,
I love it here.
Yep.
That should be it. I love it here.
Yep.
One thing that you said that I think is a big challenge, and it goes back to the clip with the you need therapy, the emotional immaturity, whatever, is I have to say it in a way that he doesn't get defensive. I want to flip that, though, because me and my husband have had some conversations, and I'm on the defense immediately. And it's part of me recognizing things you need to, areas you need to grow in, things you need to work on. I am very non-confrontational, so I don't want to have those tough conversations. But baby, in this marriage, it is not what you want to do. It's what needs to be done. And so for a woman who's not willing to mature or grow or evolve or go to therapy or work on herself, marriage is not going to work. It is not going to last.
She need to stay single.
You have to stay single. I put up on threads, if you can never be wrong, you should never get married. Like, if nobody can check you,
that's the point of marriage.
What are you doing?
Like, marriage is your mirror. Marriage is motherhood too, if we're going to get to that. But marriage and motherhood are your mirror. Okay, alliteration. You're going to see yourself in the way you never saw yourself while single. Right? If you see yourself,
it's going to be uncomfortable.
It's going to be so uncomfortable. If you see yourself in your own eyes all the time, then, I would say get some really deep relationships, even with the opposite sex, even with your own gender, before you get married. Get people in your life that are going to challenge you. That iron sharpens iron, right? They are going to challenge you and show you where you're fleeting. I know nowadays roommates aren't popular. Like I said, this is a new thing for me, but I am a proponent of maybe having a roommate. It depends on your age. Somebody that's just going to show you, like, you do this and it's weird. Like, stop doing that.
And if the first person who has a hard conversation like that is your husband, then he's going to be the enemy.
Yep.
Then it's you and it's not me, because nobody else has ever told me this. But you've never allowed anybody that close to you. And you need therapy before you get married. Okay, I know they say premarital counseling, but you need your own session so that you can work through your stuff before you bring that baggage into a marriage. How has your communication had to change within your marriage? because you said you've evolved into, I know how to approach the conversation now. What did the unevolved Angela look like with these conversations?
The unevolved Angela looked like I was that female because I got married late in life. And when I say late, I was 44. Yeah, I was 44, right? I was already set in my ways. So as individuals, when you, and I was a single mom. So raising my son, for me, I was pretty much set in my ways. I knew how I wanted my day to look from start to finish, or how I would move throughout the day from start to finish. And having someone in your space and having to consider another human being, another individual, learning to listen before I speak, because he was like, you answered the question I didn't even ask you. Like, let me get the question out, because I was on the defense and wanted. He goes, listen. So for me, I had to listen to how he was saying. I made him feel like within the first year, he made a comment that said, hey, sometimes I feel uncomfortable talking to you because you're always on the defense, or I never get out what I want to say. Okay, note to self. So let me take a step back and let you fully. So now what I do is I'll sit and I'll listen. I'll wait. I'm like, are you finished? And it's not that I'm listening to respond. I'm truly listening to hear what he's saying, to have the best response, knowing at the end of the day, it's me and you. Like this isn't a competition. We're here to grow and evolve each other. So if you're telling me that I make you feel a certain way when you're talking to me, let me just listen first before I go to respond. And then that way you can feel comfortable with saying whatever it is that you want to say to me without me coming back at you. Well,
you didn't do
right. And it's not about me. It was his opportunity of telling me how I make him feel. So I don't respond back with, well, you do XYZ to me, or you do. It's about you. If this is your moment. So you need me to change these 3 things, I got you. No problem. Partner, I got you.
What about you, Precious?
I'm really thinking hard about this question. My husband's the easiest part about being married. Honestly, like the guy, his enemies don't like me. Right? They love him and don't like me. I'm like, wait, I didn't do nothing to you. Like, he just is the easiest part about being married. So our communication's always kind of been like, what's up? Very chill. I think the nonverbal communication is something that I've had to work on more.
What's that look like? Your face talking for you?
Face, maybe just like, my love language is physical touch, which is not a lot of women's love language. So if I'm irritated, I'm like, you don't really gotta touch me like that right now, right? But so working on that, and then also we talked about evolution, right? So Co knows this. I lost 75 pounds before I got married, and I've gone through weight loss after having all of my kids and all that stuff. Yes. So having 3 kids, having a weight loss journey, and now I help moms do the same thing, but I've had to learn my body. So my nonverbal communication has changed, right? The things that I like have changed. So I've had to communicate with him physically different, and he had to learn me more so differently as I have gotten older. Now I feel like I have the body I wanted when I was 20 something, you know what I'm saying, in my 30s. So our physical communication has changed and evolved, and he's thankfully saw me on my journey when we met. And so he likes me heavy. He likes me slim thick. And so it works, but we had to kind of figure out like, oh, okay, you can do that now. Okay. Like, okay. So our physical communication, has had to evolve.
Okay. Reading between those lines.
Exactly.
I want to talk about those times you want to kill him though.
Okay.
Because
2 o'clock.
Look,
3 o'clock now.
I really love my husband down. And there are, love his dirty draws. But there are days when it's like, I'm going to kill this nigga. Yeah. Can I do this for the rest of eternity?
Right.
I have honestly had those thoughts. And I'm sure he has as well. I think it's just kind of what comes along with it. But that is not the expectation with the happily ever after that we're signing up for.
Right.
So in those moments when he is your best friend, he's the easiest part of marriage, but it ain't easy. What do you say to yourself in those moments? What is your outlet? How do you calm yourself down? What do you tell yourself to put yourself in check? Like, what do you do in those moments?
Yeah, so I said my husband's the easiest part of marriage because his personality, like just who he is like, wow, I don't think my personality can match with anybody else on the planet, right? But marriage is more than just you and that person. Marriage is you and that person, their child, if you have a blended family, or their parents, the way they relate to their families. With however toxic their families are, that's something you need to evaluate before you get married. Like, all those things matter. And so, the days where I'm just like, I don't like how you handled that, or stick up for yourself, or go for more, or, you're so talented in this, I want you to, where you're like wanting to coach your own spouse and you have to let them be their own person. I have to really decide that, like, am I? Personal development and becoming a better you is always going to make a better we. And so I think that a lot of times, especially wives, we have that vision. We can see where we can go. And sometimes our husbands are like, I want to watch football. Like, or I don't need to do
good.
Yeah, I'm good. Like, we're good right here, or whatever. And even if you have a super ambitious husband, some of the things that we see vision for, they don't see it. And so I say to myself, I say to my clients, like, focus on you. Focus on go to the gym, get a hobby, cope with your friends. Some of the things that we are getting frustrated with our husbands are because our friends are supposed to hold that role, not our husband. And so I've had to learn.
A word right there.
Listen, like, sometimes you're just putting too much weight on that relationship and it cannot stand the weight. And so spiritually, I tap in with God, like, maybe, Lord, am I using him as an idol? I need to spend more time with you. Physically, I'm trying to be up all under him and I need to go find a friend. I might be having some anxiety. Let me go get a workout in. Let me go get walk in, like, build me up physically, spiritually, emotionally, so that it takes off some of that pressure off the relationship.
That's good.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that one. When I get to the place where I just, what my husband, I honestly, I take a step back and I say, is it really detrimental to the marriage? If it's not, I let it go. And it's funny, our arguments, 10 years, our arguments are so minute when I listen to other marriages and we talk about, like, issues or problems. Our issues are so small, and I feel like I'm so blessed because of that, because we talk all the time and we communicate about things all the time. But when I get to the point where I just want to choke him, I take a step back and I'm like, is it really that deep? Is it really that detrimental? Like, I'd be mad, like, man, you left the bathroom light on again. I just want to, and I'm like, is it really that deep? Instead of checking him to say, hey, once again, you left the bathroom light on, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it off and keep it moving about my day. It's just, our arguments be the little
petty stuff.
But those little petty things can add up.
Yes.
If the communication is not there.
If you don't, if they're not communicated. So, like, our arguments are not, like, I just look at and even like our biggest arguments are, I take a step back. Is it really that detrimental to our marriage? And if the answer is no, I just let it go and keep it.
Do you all believe there's deal breakers in marriage? In your personal marriage, is there a deal breaker?
I say all the time, if you cheat, then yeah, that's a deal breaker for me. And he looks at me, he was like, you'd be so quick to dismiss somebody for cheating. I'm like, for me, you always have a choice. And that choice is not necessarily, am I going to do it or not, but there's a choice prior to you wanting to do that. What is wrong in the marriage that needs to be fixed that you couldn't communicate with me? So give me the opportunity to fix it before you cheat. So for me, anything else we can get over, but if you cheat, there were all these opportunities. Obviously, I was not giving something, don't know what that could be, because you've never communicated that to me. So for me in our marriage, my husband already knows, for me, like, cheating is like a deal breaker, where he's the opposite. I'm his second marriage, and he's like, we're together forever. So basically, and he always says I had to ask myself, before I asked you to marry you, is this for good? And is there anything that I could not get over? And his answer was no. So I'm like, okay, well,
that man ain't cheating. That man ain't cheating. He's trying to stay with you. I would say there is no immediate deal breaker in my marriage. Okay. So immediate.
That means nothing is. You can't talk about, at least have a conversation about.
Right. So immediate deal breaker mean I don't care what you say. It's over for me. I mean, maybe if he put his hands on me, I can't see myself.
Maybe if he put his hands on you,
because if he put his hands on me, I just can't see him turn. Like, that to me seems silly to say. You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
there's no chance this
Yeah, it was like when we were dating, I used to say, if it was a burning fire and me, your mom, and your daughter were in the room, who would you get first? He's like, I'm not answering that. That's silly. I'm going to find a way for all of y'all to live. Yeah, it's not happening. Why are we all in this house, in this fire, right? So that to me is like, when would he become, just randomly after all this time become that kind of person? So yes, I would not be with someone who would put their hands on me, but I don't have a immediate deal breaker.
That is great and scary.
It is very scary. And I mean, I feel like I can say that now, right? So, I'm never going to be like on this internet, like, oh yeah, everything is perfect over here. No, I mean, we were both working class. We met. We still out here working through this pandemic, through this economy like everybody else. So I won't say that we're perfect in this, not something that the enemy could use to break us. But the way we look at marriage is like, this is our way to show people that Jesus is real. Like, this is our way to show people that, like, he didn't die for nothing. So for me, I would just pray that, like, whatever came our way, we would look at it as an attack and we would fight it together. Now, if we didn't make it, then we fought. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say it's no immediate break. It's not to be like, oh, I love my husband, I'm never divorcing him. But more so like, we represent more than just me and him being happy.
I love that. It's bigger than just y'all are building something bigger.
Yeah.
When it comes to losing yourself in your marriage, I think this is definitely a woman problem. And I think it comes down to what you said, Precious, of a lot of women, when we find this man of our dreams, I would just speak for myself, not a lot of women, me. Even when I was dating, I was an all-in type of person. If I am in it, I am in it. I am number one girlfriend. I am all of the things. So now that I have this husband, I am all the way in it. And becoming a mother made me realize, okay, girl, wait a minute. Who are you outside of being a wife and being a mother? Because if that gets lost in the sauce, then I'm literally drowning under just these responsibilities. And so y'all being in the game 10 plus years, how have you managed to maintain your identity outside of being a wife? Especially when you have multiple businesses, lots of things going on. You have desires to be more than just a wife, but this is obviously a big responsibility.
Go ahead. Go.
Okay. I think as a woman, you have to create and carve out that time for yourself.
Yes.
Period. Hands down. You need your girlfriend time. You need your alone time. You need your self-care time. As long as you are always making time for yourself, whether it's perfecting your craft, like Precious said, picking up a hobby, you have to 1,000%, just as much as being a wife, being a mom, we're all of that. Those are important. So is being myself. So when you have those days where, hey, guess what today? Y'all, I'm going to see you later because I'm going to go get my hair done. I'm going to get my nails done. I'm going to go to the spa. I'm going to relax. I'm going to go eat with my girlfriend. It's so important to make sure, not just the women, but the men too. It's just so important that you're taking that time for yourself and you're truly developing. You don't give up. I hear some people say, well, I gave up my dreams and aspirations because I'm a wife and a mom. What made you think you had to? Because the times are evolving.
Yeah.
There's things as nannies, like so much that people did not have access and finances to when our parents were coming up, or who we had as role models or marriages, role models in terms of marriages to model after. We didn't see that. We saw the wife staying home and being the wife and mom, and that was it. That's not where we're at today. And a big part of that is always making sure that we as women allot that time for ourselves and not feel guilty about it.
Ooh, the guilt part.
That part. There's nothing wrong with saying no because I'm taking time for me. Because if we're not good for all the other roles that we have, we can't be good for anything. So we got to be good to ourselves.
You already know that she's speaking my language, right? So I heard you speak. One thing I want to affirm you, because I'm always going to do that, is that when you're a woman such as Co, and you're doing all these things as a single woman, society was going to tell you that it's not possible to have it all. It's not possible. So when you get into this beautiful marriage, it's like, okay, I got to work. I got to give everything I can to this because this is an anomaly. I'm an anomaly to be able to be this self-made, 6-figure, maven, right? And so that's a lie. Right?
Everybody lies. See,
that's a lie. That's a lie. You can have it all. You might not have it all at the same time, and you might not be the one to do it all, but you can. Okay.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. You're welcome. It's gonna be, we in the trenches. No hood like motherhood. So we're in the trenches. But to your point, when I teach the LIFT framework, it's my framework. One of the letters is the F, the freedom mindset. That fighting that guilt. And what you said about the T, taking your turn, I'm not gonna go into that, right? Like you take your turn, you do stuff for you, but you gotta start with the mindset of why do you think you need to be lost? How, if you lose yourself, will your husband have someone to love? Will your kids have someone to nurture? Like, getting better gives him a new woman to love, right? Every time I get better, every time I lose an inch, every time I get a new hobby, it's like, okay. It's spicing things up without him having to go find somebody else. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that we have it backwards where it's like, oh, I've got to martyr myself for the things I love. But no, you're giving them a diminished version of yourself. And so even if mom guilt or wife guilt, because I feel like I have more wife guilt than mom guilt, them kids will be all right. Yeah, them kids will be all right. Yep. I feel like y'all have each other. I birthed all y'all so y'all can have each other, go on and play, right? But sometimes I'm like, I'm at this thing, I could spend more time with my husband, or I'll bring him something home to eat. Like, I have more wife guilt than mom guilt, but I have to remind myself that, like, the things that I'm doing to make myself better, make me happier, make me more understanding, make me more energetic. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to the gym, sis. Take the time for you, like, because you're going to be a better version of you when you get there. And so losing yourself is normal. It's more normal. That's a lie, too. It's more normal than you think. You might be beating yourself up and saying, why? I can't believe I let myself go. I can't believe it. There's a lot of people are doing it.
But they're not talking about it.
But they're not.
Which is the point of these conversations. Because when I see the perfectly curated homes, all this not a figment of our imagination, because I'm seeing it right here on my timeline.
It's social media.
It's what we think is the norm, and it's like, no, that is not. First of all, that's not even real, probably. But we are comparing our real lives to this fantasy or fraudulent
18 seconds, 30 seconds.
Clip that we see. And to your point, we think something's wrong with us when we get lost in the sauce. But I definitely, and we're talking about being wives, but when I became a mother, I think I felt it more.
Because you have a physical part that's changed too.
And it's like, I can't go nowhere. This baby is attached to my brain. Like, I am here. I can't, that life that I used to live, I'm literally a new person.
Right.
I'm literally living a new life, and it's never coming back. And that, I think, is a very tough
grief.
It's grieving your old life. I literally, that old self died, and now I'm this new woman, and I'm trying to figure it all out. And so conversations like this are so important so that we can normalize the struggle. Like, this, it's not happily ever after. It can be happy, but ever after to me means forever and ever and ever. You're just gonna be happy, and that's not the case.
Exactly.
I think to Precious's point, she made a statement earlier in regards to when you become a new mom, your friend circle is going to change. Yeah. You want to surround yourself around individuals who are walking the same path you are. You're a new mom, and I'm not saying you're a new mom today, but as a new mom, you're not hanging with the girls that always want to go to the club, because that's not you anymore. So as you develop as a woman, and as we evolve as women, our circles change. Our circle of influence change. I wouldn't ask a single girlfriend who knows nothing about being a parent to watch my child for me. But guess what? I'm going to have a whole nother set of girlfriends who are parents, who understand the struggles of being a mom and being a parent and having someone attached to you, or always having to be mindful of another individual. So we just need to, instead of not having the conversations, and I'm so thankful that you have this platform for individuals, for women to know, it's all a lie. Like, you evolve and grow, and as you grow, your circle's going to grow, and as a woman, we're going to grow, and that's the evolution part of that.
Yeah, but even to that point, I feel like some of those single friends are just real important too. Those are the TTs, right? I think the village has evolved. It's not going to always be the grandmas, because some of these new grandmas,
these grandmas is out in the
these
streets.
new grandmas are out in the streets, right? So I agree with her saying, like, get those sisters that can, that's why I created my brand. That's why I created what I do, because we need to have a tribe, right? But then don't forget about some of the people who might not be in the same zone, because they're going to be the ones to take the kids to do the fun things you don't feel like doing.
So what about friends for your marriage? Because that is another, like, revelation. I done had so many revelations. That is one of them, of, like, it takes a village to raise a kid, but I think it takes a village to have a healthy, happy marriage as well.
True. Absolutely.
Especially in terms of not necessarily like leaving your single friends in the dust, but I do believe there is a value and a benefit to having other married couple friends.
Absolutely.
Because when you come across some of this craziness, I gotta have somebody who I can relate to.
True.
So what has been the value, or have y'all seen any value or benefit of having those like marriage friends, or do you?
Absolutely.
We always joke, if I like the wife and he likes the husband, we go together. Like, that's it. Like, once you find that, that is gold. And then, unfortunately, we've had some times where he loves the husband. Like, I'm like, sorry, y'all got to break up. Y'all got to break up because
I'm not coming.
I'm not coming. I can't do it. Thankfully, I'm an extrovert, so I'll bear with them once a quarter. But it ain't finna be no regular. It's not going to be. So, yes, I find it very important. We're members of a church. We were in ministry for a long time. So, a lot of that was ready-made for us.
So you had a built-in.
We had a built-in community now when we changed churches, and it was like hard. We were like in the first place, like, well, you got to make new friends at this age. But yes, I do find it very important, especially for husbands. I know that we're talking to wives, but like, I think that women talk about their marriage more than men talk about their marriages.
For sure.
And so I know that I can say my husband's so amazing because he can see like what his married friends are talking about. Like they kind of can see like, he's like, dang, Precious is boisterous, but she ain't like that.
Girl, they be making me look good. I'm like, well,
thank you, girl.
You keep cutting up. Yeah, keep cutting up over there.
Right. So, I think it's very important. And for women too, like you just see something that like, oh, I'm glad.
My man,
you
got to deal with that.
Yeah, like we got to, we all right, you know what I'm saying? Like we might not be in a mansion, but he be at home.
I think it's important. I think 1,000% important. I have an equal balance of both single friends and married friends, but for us, we enjoy hanging out with our married friends more because it's just more conversation that I relate to, and it's just, and for both of us, and it's just super important because I think healthy marriages feed healthy marriages, and you also want to have a safe spot where if there's an issue within your marriage and you're looking for advice from other married couples, then it's good. Not necessarily advice. Let's say that, because I always tell people be cautious of who you take advice from. But just just hearing that you're not the only couple that has gone through or will go through what it is that you're going through.
So okay.
You like
put a pin
on my notes.
Because I subscribe, and I think a lot of us subscribe to keep people out your business, right?
Disagree.
So this is where I'm going, because that is not necessarily the healthiest mindset or way of being if you truly do need an outlet. You truly do need a sounding board. So where do you draw the line? It's very gray of, I don't want y'all in my marital business, but I do need a friend. I do need support. I do need some advice or some help or whatever, and I don't want to be over here alone, because that's how I ended up, staying in an abusive relationship for too long. I wasn't talking to my friends. I wasn't telling anybody my business. I was trying to keep it all to myself. So God forbid anyone finds themselves in a situation like that and don't want to share, because we've been preaching, keep people out your business.
Right.
So what's your stance on that?
I talk.
Me too.
I like, if you're my friend and you're our friend, you want what's best for us as a couple, I'm going to talk. I will pick up the phone in a minute and call my husband's best friend and say, let me tell you about your boy. Or I will pick up the phone and call his wife and be like, hey, I'm going to share this with you. Do you experience this? Maybe you can whisper it to him. So I talk. If there's an issue and it feels something that you want, that I feel that I need to get off my chest, I'm going to talk. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I don't hold nothing back. And sometimes if I need to be checked, I look for my friends to check me. Am I wrong? Or tell me and that's how, and I have a girlfriend that I go to, and anytime I start the conversation, okay, I need you. Am I wrong? She's like, hold on, let me get my coffee. But so you want those friends where you want to know that you're talking in a safe space, and you're talking and you're going to get great feedback back. So but I don't listen, hey, no one's perfect.
What about family though?
No.
Is it only friends?
Except for my sister. My best friend my sister's my best friend. So, but even with her, some things I feel like if it's going to change the level of advice she gives me in the future, I don't tell her.
Explain that.
So sometimes there's something that you might be going through that's a recurring thing, right? And you feel like if I say this recurring thing to this person, it might shift the way they advise me moving forward. So I need somebody who's really clearly, like, me and her are 13 months apart. Like, my drawers are dirty, she's like, girl, but that's, it's just a stain. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, she'll tell me I'm wrong, don't get me wrong, but some things it's like, okay, I'm
I don't need to
I'm
hear
done
that
with
right
this
now.
recurring thing
Yeah.
that you know. So I think for me, I do talk. As you can see, I do talk, but we've already used wisdom in the circle. Like it's only, but he knows the 3 people I'm told. It's not gonna be this random friend I met at work and it's like we're best
Now
friends.
she in your business.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it's like he knows, and then he gonna know if her husband texts him. It's like, oh dang, she didn't tell. What's it called? Like,
Hold on.
yeah, right? Like, and the same thing. I'd be like, I don't know what's going on the phone upstairs, but they're talking longer than normal. Are you okay? You know, to my friends. So it's just like, you can't come stay here, so let's talk because what's going on with
Because y'all have to work that out.
Yeah, y'all gotta work that out. So we have a standard on the people that we trust, and then I have working and continue to work on that. I speak of him the way I would want him to hear me speak of him. So if I'm telling somebody something, if I haven't talked to him about it yet, I want, if he overheard me, it wouldn't be like, dang, like, so you just calling me low down and no good. Like, you know, like I I respect my husband when he's there, when he's not. And I don't speak to people who are going to be like, yeah. That, you know, like speak negatively of him too. If somebody has that type of vibe towards marriage, like, because you know, these husbands are,
You are not the person. You are not the outlet.
I
person I'm
can't.
talking
And I can
to.
be super close to that person, right? But if their view of marriage or based on where their marriage is, they're ready for you to like, yes, like finally, especially like I told y'all, my husband's liked by everybody. Yes, finally he did something. Because you know, all these husbands don't do. No, don't be all these because then now I'm defensive. I came to you to complain about him, but now I'm like, but wait,
No, but wait a minute.
he is still perfect.
Now
No,
this
Jojo.
conversation has taken the time.
Exactly. Now I got to defend my husband. I was coming here to get some advice or get some. I wanted you to be on my side, but not that much. You know what I'm saying? So you have to use wisdom. You have to be spirit led for me because, like I said, anybody can be used to attack your marriage. And so if you want to work it out, that's where I think the whole don't talk to people is. If you know you want to work it out, or you know that there's something that might be somebody else might consider a deal breaker, go to the right person that's not going to come and be used to draw a wedge between you and your husband.
I don't think it's family though. To your question in regards to family, and I say that because I'm very careful on what I let my family know about the marriage, because I would not ever want someone to look at my husband differently because I gave you too much on a day that I was super emotional and I said, and you know, I would. So with the family, I'm very cautious on what I choose to tell or what I don't choose to tell. Friends are different. Family, because 9 times out of 10, my husband already told me we're not getting divorced. So I don't want to go painting this image of, because I'm mad at you today, now I'm gonna have my family mad at you because my family ride or die. They're going. So I'm careful when it comes to family on what I tell and what I don't share.
Friends choose you. Family doesn't.
Yep.
So if you're talking to a friend, this person has chose to be his friend, chose to be y'all friend. They like him for who he is, right? Your family is putting up with him
might
because
not even like your
right, exactly, right. And thankfully, my family loves Aunt, but it's like they didn't choose him. They don't even know him as well as my friends know him. So I think it's just about, you know, not casting your pearls in space that's not safe. You know what I'm saying? Picking the person that you know loves him and might be like, not Precious. You know, sometimes he does it. You know, like giving him the benefit of the
helpful advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our last segment, it's called Wifey for Lifey, because the goal is to be wifey for lifey. This is all about marriage management, how we can maintain and sustain a healthy, happy, most of the time, marriage.
Here we go.
So one piece of advice in your 10 plus years in your relationship, what would be a piece of advice that you would offer to a woman in her first year of marriage? And you can look right there at that camera and tell the people.
Hey, girl. My advice is that you're God's daughter first. He created you. He gave you your name. He gave you your parents. He gave you your body. He gave you so many gifts. So do not forget her, right? Continue to cultivate what you love. Continue to cultivate the friendships you love. Be willing to change and grow and evolve. And as you do that, communicate that. Communicate those changes. Do the self-work. Don't just set it and forget it, right? So continue to grow, continue to love on you. The word says that you love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. But if you don't love yourself, if you neglected yourself, that love you're giving other people is not going to be the level of love that they deserve. So just don't forget you. You know what I'm saying? If you ever need a hand in the process, my name is Precious. I got you. But just don't forget you, and you're loved.
Thank you, Precious. What you got, Angela?
For me, it's communication. I'm going to stand on it. I'm going to stand 10 toes down. Figure out the best way to communicate with your spouse. However, whether it's verbal, nonverbal, listening, communication is not just talking, it's also about listening. So if you, in your first year of marriage, if you and your spouse can truly, truly, truly connect on how to communicate with each other, you're going to go a long way.
That has been a common conversation here. We always talk about finances being the number one cause of divorce, but I would believe it's the lack of communication about finances that is the number one cause, and the resentment that comes from not communicating.
Yep.
So, such a good conversation. I learn something every single time I have the opportunity to host these shows. So, thank y'all for offering your wives' wisdom. Precious, I know you got a lot of stuff for the people. Angela, I know you got a whole lot going on. So, look in the camera, tell them where they can find you and how they can connect with you online.
Yay. So I'm Precious K. Williams on all platforms. I'm a mommy wellness coach and an international wellness speaker. So I talk about wellness, women's wellness, and lifting yourself up, right, with the power of the Lord, lightening your load, igniting your spark, embracing a freedom mindset so you can take your turn. I run an 8-week program for moms doing just that. So if you need me, go to preciouskwilliams.com. I have a free quiz on there, so you can find out how well you actually doing and not just being like, I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay, girl. No, let's figure out how you actually doing so we can get you the help you need so you can be your best self and live happily, mostly ever after.
And I'm Angela McCoy. You can find me. Well, I'm the president and CEO of Full Circle Consulting Group. We do public relations, we do marketing, we do artist management and events. So if you ever need a fantastic event, we got you. Yeah, you're an artist. You need management. We got you. Public relations. We got you. And if your company needs help with marketing, we got you covered there. You can find us at fullcircleconsultinggroup.com and Full Circle Consulting Group on IG.
Two bossed up baddies that are still out here living healthy, happy wife life. Okay. So I hope y'all enjoyed the first part of today's episode. We are about to get into Wifey Keeps It Spicy. TK is the next face that you'll see. Catch you on the next episode.
Hello, beautiful ladies. Welcome back to another Wifey Keep It Spicy segment with your girl, Takesha. I'm super excited to be back. Yes, with another banger, of course. This is the month of love, February. That's why I got on my red, keeping it sexy. But Valentine's Day is right around the corner as well. And so, of course, I had to give y'all some gems, some jewels, some tips, the tea on how to keep it spicy. Listen, this week is for the big girls. Okay. What do I mean? Because I'm about to challenge y'all to something all month long. Okay. I'm not just about to drop some gems for y'all to be able to enjoy one day. No, baby, we are about to have thriving sex lives and intimacy with our spouses forever. Okay. So we're going to lay down some foundational work, right? I want to challenge y'all as your sister, as your auntie, as your friend. Okay. Am I auntie? But as your friend, I want to challenge you to two things. Okay. I need you to ask yourself if you are ready for the challenge. Why am I challenging you? Because I have done these things. I have experience in these things, and they have absolutely elevated my intimacy with my man. Okay. So if you want to elevate your intimacy, if you want to keep it spicy, I dare you to accept this challenge. Number one, I challenge you to step up in your femininity, specifically in the way that you dress in your house. Okay. A lot of us need to go ahead and fold up the leggings, the oversized t-shirts, the hoodies, the sweatpants. Fold it up, sis. Let's fold it up. And we're going to wear our little house dresses around the house. Okay. We're going to wear elevated loungewear around the house. Okay. We're going to wear those Ross and TJ Maxx summer dresses in the home. We're going to get oiled up. We're going to look cute. Why does this matter? Why am I challenging you to this? It's because when you feel feminine and you feel soft and you are taking care of yourself, you will be more prepared to be able to be intimate later on at night. A lot of us are complaining about being tired and being drained and being overworked. And we just feel like we're in this masculine energy. Well, here's a small tip to step into that feminine energy so that you can be all you need to be when it is time to do what we need to do. Wear those dresses around the house all month long. Step into your feminine essence, right? I just want to put this caveat out there though. Be prepared for your man to want it all the time, and be prepared for you to want it. Okay. Because when you walk past that mirror and you see your silhouette and you see how good you look, you see how you jiggling and wiggling and smooth in that dress, you are going to feel confident. It's going to boost your self-esteem, and it helps you thrive in your femininity, which is absolutely attached to your intimacy. The second part of this challenge, and this is for the big girls. Are y'all ready? I want to give every single last one of y'all some homework. We are going to set our man down. We are going to set our husbands down. And this is exactly what we are going to ask. We're going to ask how we can be a better wife. We are going to ask for them to share with us all the areas that we could work on. We are going to ask for every aspect of our lives. How am I as a mother? How am I intimately? What is the things that you want from me? Talk to me, Big Daddy, right? And I know a lot of y'all like, girl, he the one that need to be elevating. He's the one that needs to be asking me these questions. But I just want to challenge y'all to take the lead. I want to challenge y'all to become more self-aware so that not only are you stepping into your femininity and you're looking more feminine, you are aware of the places that you need to grow in. You are aware in the areas that you need to stretch in. And therefore, overall, just allowing a space for a phenomenal place of intimacy to thrive. A lot of us think we're doing excellent and we just might not be. And that is okay. It is better to have your feelings hurt a little bit and become fully self-aware than to operate in full delusion and just be suffering. We don't want that. We're not building up a culture of women who think it's all about them. So this month we are challenging ourselves to be big girls. We're challenging ourselves not only to know how to be fire in the bedroom, throw it back, do all these tricks, but we're going to be phenomenal women. And so this is what's going to set up for the long-lasting, mind-blowing sex that we all want. So that is my advice. That's my tips for this month. I want y'all to comment down below, not this month, but this week. I want y'all to comment down below if you are accepting the challenge. Will you wear dresses all month long? Will you kind of get a little sexy and elevate that loungewear? And are you going to set your man down to really find out what's tea? Let me know in the comments.